All right, we are recording.
The senator from New York.
Hello, everyone. This is going to be uploaded to the Tip Off Truth podcast, but we are currently watching the State of the Union right now as Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris, or Nancy just addressed everyone. Not like everyone, but all the whoever she just introduced. I don't know. I wasn't. I was looking at the stream here, but she just introduced them, and now we're waiting on Joe Biden. Um, but yeah, so whose question was that? That was
It's a good point.
Steven? Wait, who said that?
Two women
Oh no,
Yo,
that was Anthony. Yeah, so what's happening here is the State of the Union. President gives this. It's supposed to be every year. Um, and usually he says like what's happened, what he's going to do, basically. So,
accomplishments.
yeah, accomplishments. So like what we're gonna see tonight is probably over Russia and Ukraine. We're gonna see inflation. We're gonna see I don't know, just more of what he's done, I guess you could say. But let's listen in here.
The next moment that we will see, of course, is going to be some of the entries into the chamber. You're going to see the House Sergeant at Arms do the traditional call out, Anna. That is sort of the.
Is he about to talk, Nick?
Nancy and Kamala are just finished talking, but
Okay.
the some of the arms is about to something.
That loud voice, which really is the start of this experience we're about to hear it.
Yeah, so you guys might be wondering, like, what key topics might Joe Biden be speaking about tonight? Nick kind of took a brief, kind of talked about it a little. Obviously, he might be talking about, the Ukraine and Russia situation and how NATO allies are, looking at it. You could also see him talking about how the Biden administration is dealing with inflation and obviously in gas prices, food, cars, you name it.
Yeah.
Another one could be his newest nomination of the Supreme Court.
One of the most
Uh,
important events in Washington
Circuit
D.C. in the country,
Circuit
and the
Court
president
Judge
is going to be delivering a speech by an American
Brown.
president that could be one of the most
You could
important.
be seeing
Oh
him.
yes, you were probably gonna be facing that tonight.
Yeah, you could also see him talk about how his administration is the most diverse and how he has more females on his cabinet than probably any other presidency has. Um, and just to list more, but you guys will be seeing Justice Breyer in this because he is still fulfilling his office of the Supreme Court Justice.
And a lot of
And so,
justices don't show up to this. And do you know why? I just want to explain that, Grant.
say that again.
A lot of justices don't end up showing up to the State of the Union in person.
Actually they do.
I thought they don't.
So-
They just said they don't. Like not
No,
all
they
of them.
do.
Like they don't have to.
I mean, when you look at Donald Trump's, State of the Union, you would almost see you would see mostly every single Supreme Court justice. They
Oh,
were
I
there.
just well, I heard them a little bit ago. They said like not all of them were gonna show up or whatever.
Well, I think some key ones that you're gonna see there are Sotomayor, Breyer, and I forgot what her name is. But you could definitely see. I could definitely see all justices being there, especially Chief Justice John Roberts. I would assume he would be there as well, since he's kind of the Chief Justice.
Oh, maybe
But
you know what? Maybe I got it backwards. Maybe it was like they haven't shown up in the past, but they'll show up tonight. Like back in like 19. I don't know. It was something like they.
maybe during the COVID days, but
Yeah.
obviously we still. I think some
Here
key
they come.
points that. I think some right before we start. I think some key points that the president might bring up is how his administration has added essentially 6 million jobs. The biggest job growth amongst any president in the first year, or in actually in 1 month. You could also see him talking about the unemployment rate and how it's declining at this point.
Chief Justice Roberts.
You could also see him talking about,
McConnell, who's the chief of staff of the Army,
like we said, like Supreme Court justices, all those successful things.
American leadership, bipartisan,
And
nonpartisan American
you could
leadership.
I could definitely hear him talking about his accomplishment of having a African American vice president. So some really very good topics.
Sometimes they have to
If
not applaud so they don't appear.
But mind you, Biden's approval rating is at a low of 37%, which is really, really bad.
And they obviously have to salute
So
Joe Biden because he's
Yeah,
those are some
the
things you can
Chief of
see.
Justice has just walked in not too long ago.
Yeah.
Given everything that we're seeing overseas, Justice Kavanaugh's third State of the Union speech, by the way.
Get on
Here comes
Discord.
First Lady Jill Biden.
Streaming it on Twitch. Do I need to stream it in Discord? I see a lot of people dressed in blue, yellow, a lot of Ukrainian flags here, a lot of Ukrainian and American pins. Some of that could be like, I really do care about people out there, but like, it could also be politics.
She is unfamiliar, right? I mean, she has
Yeah.
attended these in her capacity as the second lady in years past.
And do not be surprised if you don't see Republicans not standing up. This is awfully.
What do you do, Ding Daddy? What up? Watching the State of the Union here, but yeah, Grant, go ahead.
You see usually the party that is like now. You might
Here
not
comes the
see
president's cabinet.
Yeah, you might not see Republicans be standing up for every single topic that the president brings up because they're opposed of what the president is doing.
And much like when Trump was in office, you didn't see the Democrat, like, it was like a whole, like, sea of, like, Democrats that were just sitting there. They weren't even standing up, vice versa. So, like, Republicans, like, basically, if, so Biden's Democratic Party, you'll see a lot of Democrats stand up as a part of his party, and Republicans might not stand up. And that could go, like, vice versa, like I just said. So, like, Trump, he was in office, like, a lot of Republicans stood up, and not nearly any Democrats stood up. So, Ding Daddy, I was just explaining. So the State of the Union is going on tonight, where Joe Biden will give his address, his speech to the United States of America, about basically what he's done, like accomplishments, what he's going to do. He's probably going to be talking about Ukraine, stuff like that over there. That's basically what the State of the Union.
I just saw Bill Hagerty. Oh, there's Chuck Grassley, senator from Iowa. Dude's he's.
Oh, there's Pete Buttigieg right there.
Wait, which one are you watching from? What which?
NBC News Live.
Okay.
Are you watching that?
I was watching from ABC.
Oh. It is now going to be 9 p.m. here soon enough.
Oh, there's Pete.
I don't know when Biden's going to
get into the mix there.
And those assigned seats are being
So the guy with the glasses, that is the Secretary of Education.
Joseph R. Who's Joseph R?
Joseph R. Biden.
Joseph R. Biden. Oh, Joe Biden? He's not here yet. He left the White House in like 15 minutes.
Oh, there's Kristen Cinema down there by Pete Buttigieg.
I didn't know his middle name was like start with an R.
Yeah, it's Robinette.
Robinette. Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, Joseph Robinette Biden. Oh, there's Janet Yellen, Secretary of Treasury. Anthony Blinken, Secretary of Defense.
With the midterm elections,
there is. Oh, who is that? Who's the bald dude? Oh, I know his name.
House chamber tonight, as he makes his case to lawmakers and the American people.
Golly, I forgot his name. I bet you if it brought up, if it came up, I would know who it would be.
Here are Lester Holt and Savannah Guthrie.
What do you odds Putin pulls out? I don't know.
Holt, in just moments from now, President Joe Biden will enter the House chamber to give his first official State of the Union.
So yeah, this is his first State of the Union address in how many years or been in
No,
office for?
it's his second. It's his second.
Ukraine, shattering peace in Europe.
They keep saying it's his first.
Unleashing a massive assault.
No, it's not. It's his second.
We're on the ground in Ukraine tonight as the world waits for what message President
Okay,
Biden
I don't like
will
making
deliver to
conspiracy
Americans, to
theories,
Ukrainians, and
but
to
all I'm
Muslims tonight.
saying
There's
is,
always issues here at home to grapple with
what
here.
if Russia
Pandemic,
bombs
rising
the Capitol?
inflation hitting Americans hard.
Jeez.
Wait,
Now we expect
Nick,
the sergeant
you know what I
at
just
arms to announce
realized?
the
What?
We should
president's
see
arrival
who
is a big
the
difference from last year,
designated
and that is the
survivor would be.
size
No,
of
no, they addressed her, or they already addressed her.
tonight's
Who?
It's a oh my gosh, who was it? I don't like I don't know. I know they addressed her, but
If I said the name, would you know?
huh?
We're also seeing
If I said the
rampant
name, would you
security
know?
tonight. The
Yeah.
fencing that went up around the Capitol
Probably.
following the January 6th insurrection is back with National Guard troops on standby. I want to go right
Oh yeah, they
back
probably
to
could be.
Chief
He
White
might
House
bring up the
correspondent
January
Peter
6th.
Alexander. Peter, good evening.
Good.
evening to you in Savannah. To be clear,
Commerce
President Biden's
Secretary.
aide said
Oh,
there's no question
Commerce
that this is a
Secretary
different speech than he would have been
Gina
giving just a couple of weeks ago,
Raimondo.
punctuating
Yeah.
one of the most consequential periods of his presidency.
I don't know where she's
in the
sitting at,
midst
but
of the
She's in a
only
secret
days
building.
after announcing his pick to be the first
oh yeah,
black
she would
woman
be.
on the Supreme
Yeah, because they
Court.
need to get her out.
This is a
Like
high-stakes
that group.
balancing act. Ukraine.
Oh, I just saw Breyer down there.
Theme. The
What if-
president will
what
try to
if-
demonstrate his leadership on one of the
What if
greatest
Russia has a
wars
cyber
of
attack on
civility
everything and
since
like
World War II, and
none of
to
it's
deliver a
broadcasted
rebuke to
or?
Vladimir Putin for what he will call a premeditated and unprovoked war. And we have just learned tonight that the president will announce that the U.S. will close its airspace to Russian aircraft. Still, his challenge
Dang.
is getting a job approval as
The U.S. will close their airspace to Russian aircraft
dissatisfied with his handling of crime
tonight.
and immigration and inflation.
Yeah, I'm looking at who the state of the or designated survivor has been in the past.
Cut costs to help working families. And I'm going to be watching his tone tonight.
So
It is
we have the
deeply
What up,
Trump
Sour Apple?
administration.
Officials here are previewing what they call a unity agenda.
Now it changes like every time, right?
Priorities that have been
Yeah, it does.
historically bipartisan. And Lester and Savannah, just moments ago, we learned
Okay, so
that the designated
Trump's
survivor during
first
tonight's State of the Union will be the Commerce Secretary, Gina Raimondo.
Christina with the following.
Peter, thank you.
Yeah, Gina Romano is the designated survivor. Yep. Hello, how you doing, Christina? We're watching the State of the Union that's about to take tonight.
The military members, General Milley, of course, in the House chamber
Gina
tonight. We saw Tony Blinken.
Romano or whatever his
Richard, you
name
are
is
in
going to be the
Kyiv.
designated
This is the city
survivor.
that is surrounded,
Secretary of
Russian
Commerce.
forces.
Okay, so
The
under the
major
Trump
good,
administration,
brutal assault that is expected
his
to get
first
even worse as the days wear on.
designated
What is the
survivor,
situation
which
you
is
see on the
very
ground at this hour?
fascinating because I feel like, if I'm someone, I'm leaving like someone important who can like lead the country. So if I was Biden, I would be leaving like Blinken or
completely surrounded by Russian forces.
someone in the defense or like Secretary of Defense, Secretary of
Yeah.
those type of like big models. But under the Trump administration, his first designated survivor was actually Sonny Perdue, who was the Secretary of Agriculture.
With first Russia encircling the city, then attacking it, and then landing.
I'm not saying that the Secretary of like Agriculture doesn't matter because it definitely does, but if I'm like the president, I'm leaving like the most important people out.
Without more assistance, it is not going to be able to confront Russia on its own. Up until now, the Ukrainian military has been able to keep the Russians at bay and has been putting up a heroic.
Here comes President.
But
There he
a
is.
new kind of tactic would be much more difficult.
And Richard, the president
President
has entered the House chamber.
Major General William
Expect,
Walker.
this walk to last quite a few minutes.
Is that
as it
him?
often does.
Wait,
Yeah, he just introduced the president.
There he is.
Assembled guests. We've seen, several
There
members
is
of
our
the Supreme
president,
Court,
ladies and
the
gentlemen.
cabinet. And again, no masks in the chamber tonight. Well, masks were optional, and many have
Fortunately,
chosen
me and
not
my
to wear
family
them,
had
so,
to temporarily
we're
move.
starting to see that
Really?
return to normalcy. We want to bring
Oh,
in
prayers
NBC's
go out to
political
you because
director and moderator
what's happening over here, I mean,
Chuck Todd and our chief
can't really say anything because I live in
Washington
America,
Andrea
but
Mitchell.
what's just been happening in these past 2 weeks or week and a half, Russia invading Ukraine, I mean, the move into Poland is, you might have a little fear factor there,
Just
but
don't wear no masks, man.
Yeah, they yeah, no mask. They lowered
The president actually has an opportunity
mask
that I
mandate or
don't think he
whatever.
would have had 2 weeks ago, which is more people are going to tune into the speech. It's going to be a little less of a partisan audience. You know, the past few states of the union have very much, you could almost feel, you see it, where, you know, one party watches its president, the other party doesn't. Tonight, with the uncertainty of what's going on in
I hope
Ukraine,
this is like loud
uncertainty
enough
of
for
the
people
threats from Putin, the president
here.
has an opportunity to talk to some people he hasn't perhaps been able to talk to in a while. Now, that's the challenge, of course, of this speech is to see if what he says penetrates the public. I think he's had a hard time penetrating and getting them to listen to what he has to say in domestic politics. I do think this is his wheelhouse. This is what he has, in some ways, been
Oh, there's Amy
preparing
Coney
his whole
Barrett.
professional life
Yeah, they're
for,
all
is this
there,
moment
looks
to
like.
manage a
Yep.
crisis in Europe. So he's
We're
perhaps
from Ukraine,
ready
and my
for this
parents just
moment.
told us to start packing because we're going
So the
to
opportunity tonight to meet it.
staying in
As I
Ukraine
turn to
until
you,
it
Andrea,
got
Chief
better.
Foreign Affairs Correspondent.
Really?
This is a moment for history. This is a moment where the president is likely to talk
How did you
about the
find
forces
me?
for democracy versus the forces of a dictator and set
Oh,
it
wait.
in quite stark terms.
Wow.
And he's hoping, as we see the president handing the speech, the text to the vice president, of course, and the Speaker of the House, he's hoping that all the Republican criticism that he did not move quickly enough to arm Ukraine
Oh, they already. Wait,
will now
State of
be
the Union
resolved
cheer.
because they have taken decisive action.
High privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the
I see
President
Merrick
of the
Garland down
United
there.
States.
I mean, this is the State of the Union.
And Savannah, this could be a rare moment of bipartisanship. He's hoping the
Yeah,
president
State of the
even
Union, yes.
remembers bipartisanship, politics stopping at the water's edge on foreign policy.
It's very blue and yellow out there already in that crowd. You can see.
That's what I
there's a
noticed.
lot
It's
of
very blue and yellow, yeah.
And they're wearing pins, the Ukrainian flag with the U.S. flag.
Hey, let's listen in here.
Together, this could be a rare moment of bipartisanship. He's hoping the kind that he remembers bipartisanship, politics stopping at the water's edge on foreign politics.
It's very blue and yellow out there already in the crowd. You can see a lot of blue and yellow.
And the wearing pins, the Ukrainian flag with the U.S. flag.
Please. Thank you so much.
I am recording and I'm also streaming, so no.
First Lady and Second Gentlemen,
Hey, grab
members of Congress and the
pin.
Cabinet,
He's big.
Justice of the Supreme Court, my fellow Americans. Last year, COVID-19 kept us apart. This year, we're finally together.
Are you good, Edmund? I just wanted to.
Tonight,
I just wanted to say it.
Tonight, we meet as Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, but most importantly, as Americans. With the duty to one another, to America,
The State of the Union is like I've explained,
and an unwavering
is
resolve
president
that freedom will
is the
always triumph
press
over tyranny.
of America, usually every year, of what he's like done, like accomplishments, like what he's going to do, like what's happening like presently. The time, so like he's probably gonna be talking about Ukraine, Russia. He's probably gonna be talking about inflation and stuff like that. But we'll see. So.
Days ago, Russia's Vladimir Putin sought to shake the very foundations of the free world, thinking he could make it bend to his menacing ways. But he badly miscalculated. He thought he could roll into Ukraine and the world would roll over. Instead, he met with a wall of strength he never anticipated or imagined. He met the Ukrainian people.
The one thing that I would hate about this is like standing up every time, clapping. Like even at the State of the State that we went to.
To every Ukrainian, their fearlessness, their courage, their determination literally inspires the world. Groups of citizens blocking tanks with their bodies. Everyone from students to retirees to teachers turned soldiers defending their homeland. And in this struggle, President Zelensky said in his speech to the European Parliament, light will win over darkness. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States is here tonight, sitting with the First Lady. Let each of us, if you're able to stand and send an unmistakable signal to the world. Okay. Thank you. Thank Bright, she's strong, she's resolved. Yes. We, the United States of America, stand with the Ukrainian people. Throughout our history, we've learned this lesson. When dictators do not pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos. They keep moving, and the cost, the threats to America and America to the world keeps rising. That's why the NATO alliance was created, to secure peace and stability in Europe after World War II. The United States is a member, along with 29 other nations. It matters. American diplomacy matters. American resolve matters. Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and totally unprovoked. He rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond. He thought he could divide us at home, in this chamber, in this nation. He thought he could divide us in Europe as well. But Putin was wrong. We are ready. We are united, and that's what we did. We stayed united. We prepared extensively and carefully. We spent months building coalitions of other freedom-loving nations in Europe and the Americas, from America to the Asian and African continents, to confront Putin. Like many of you, I spent countless hours unifying our European allies. We shared with the world in advance what we knew Putin was planning and precisely how we would try to falsify and justify his aggression. We countered Russia's lies with the truth. And now that he's acted, the free world is holding him accountable, along with 27 members of the European Union, including France, Germany, Italy, as well as countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and many others, even Switzerland, are inflicting pain on Russia and supporting the people of Ukraine. Putin is now isolated from the world more than he has ever been. Together,
Grant, do you have to have special access to like set up their on the gallery, whatever it's called?
We're cutting off Russia's largest bank from the
I'm not
international
sure.
financial system,
I
preventing
would
Russia's
assume you
central
would have to
bank
be,
from defending the
personally
Russian
invited by
ruble,
someone or a
making Putin's
lawmaker.
$630 billion war fund worthless. We're choking Russia's access. We're choking Russia's access to technology that will sap its economic strength and weaken its military for years to come. Tonight, I say to the Russian oligarchs and the corrupt leaders who built billions of dollars off this violent regime, no more. The United States, I mean it.
I can't move this.
The United States Department of Justice is assembling a dedicated task force to go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs. We're joining with European allies to find and seize their yachts, their luxury apartments, their private jets. We're coming for you, ill-begotten gains. And tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights, further isolating Russia and adding additional squeeze on their economy. He has no idea what's coming. The ruble has already lost 30% of its value. The Russian stock market has lost 40% of its value, and trading remains suspended. The Russian economy is reeling, and Putin alone is the one to blame. Together with our allies, we're providing support to the Ukrainians in their fight for freedom. Military assistance, economic assistance, humanitarian assistance, We're giving more than $1 billion of direct assistance to Ukraine, and will continue to aid the Ukrainian people as they defend their country and help ease their
So basically, he was just addressing like what he's like the sanctions, and like basically like Russia in the beginning of this was like, I don't know if this has any like correlation with this, but like Russia was like, don't like engage in us, or we'll like retaliate, whatever. But Biden's like, we've cut off trading, we've cut off like bank, whatever, we've cut off tonight their airspace here. So like,
deployments to protect NATO countries including Poland, Romania, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. And as I've made crystal clear,
so yeah, so Russia won't be able to come into our airspaces in America. Any Russian aircraft.
NATO territory with the full force of our collective power. Every single inch.
So President Biden will give $1 billion to aid to Ukraine. That's what Biden just declared. You can also see the teleprompter at the bottom.
With pure courage. But the next few days, weeks, and months
What, Edmund?
will be hard on them. Putin has unleashed violence and chaos. But while he may make gains on the battlefield, he'll pay a continuing high price over the long run. And a pound of Ukrainian people, proud people, pound for pound, ready to fight with every inch of energy they have. They've known 30 years of independence, have repeatedly shown that they will not tolerate anyone who tries to take their country backwards. To all Americans, I'll be honest with you, as I always promised I would be. A Russian dictator invading a foreign country has cost around the world. And I'm taking robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy, and that we use every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers. Tonight, I can announce the United States has worked with 30 other countries to release 60 million barrels of oil from reserves around the world. America will lead that effort, releasing 30 million barrels of our own strategic petroleum reserve. And we stand ready to do more if necessary, united with our allies. These steps will help blunt gas prices here at home, but I know news about what's happening can seem alarming to all Americans.
One thing that like doesn't have any like relation to this is that I see Kamala in the background. Like when everyone else claps, like she claps, like she's not leading the clap.
The war in Ukraine will have left Russia weaker and the rest of the world stronger. Well, while it shouldn't have taken something so terrible for people around the world to see what's at stake, now everyone sees it clearly. We see the unity among leaders of nations.
I mean, I'm also gonna try to keep it like not based, not biased.
Among the people who are gathering in cities and large crowds around the world, even in Russia, to demonstrate their support for the people of Ukraine. In the battle between democracy and autocracies, democracies are rising to the moment, and the world is clearly choosing the side of peace and security. This is the real test, and it's going to take time. So let us continue to draw inspiration from the iron will of the Ukrainian people. To our fellow Ukrainian Americans who forged the deep bond that connects our two nations, we stand with you. We stand with you. Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people. He'll never extinguish their love of freedom, and he will never weaken the resolve of the free world.
See, one thing I will say, anyone that's waving a Ukrainian flag, I better see everyone waving a United States flag.
The pandemic has been punishing, and so many families are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to keep up with the rising cost of food, gas, housing, and so much more. I understand, like many of you did. My dad had to leave his home in Scranton, Pennsylvania to find work. So like many of you, I grew up in a family when the price of food went up, it was felt throughout the family. It had an impact. That's when one of the first things I did as president was fight to pass the American Rescue Plan. Because people were hurting. We needed to act, and we did. Few people
He just said that's facts.
have done more at a critical moment in our history to lift us out of a crisis. It fueled our efforts to vaccinate the nation and combat COVID-19, delivered immediate economic relief to tens of millions of Americans. It helped put food on the table. Remember those long lines of cars waiting for hours just to get a box of food put in their trunk? It cut the cost of health care insurance. And as my dad used to say, it gave the people just a little bit of breathing room. Unlike the $2 trillion tax cut passed in the previous administration that benefited the top 1% of Americans, the American Rescue Plan
Bruh.
helped working people and left no one behind.
That was a little cringe, by the way. God. It was so cringe. Do you see the face that he made at me?
McCarthy?
Oh my god. He like looked over to his left.
It worked. We created jobs, lots of jobs. In fact, our
Screw Chuck, dude.
Huh?
6.5 million new jobs just
Chuck
last year.
can literally suck him.
More jobs in 1 year than ever before in the history of the United States of America. The economy grew at a rate of 5.7 last year, the strongest growth rate in 40 years. And the first step in bringing fundamental change to our economy that hasn't worked for working people in this nation for too long. For the past 40 years, we were told the tax break for those at the top and benefits would trickle down and everyone would benefit. But that trickle-down theory led to a weaker economic growth, lower wages, bigger deficits, and a widening gap between the top and everyone else in nearly a century. Look, Vice President Harris and I ran for office, and I realize we have fundamental disagreements on this, but ran for office with a new economic vision for America. Invest in America. Educate Americans. Grow the workforce. Build the economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. Because we know. Because we know. Because we know when the middle class grows,
Bro, Nancy Pelosi needs to get some chapstick. She keeps licking her lips.
She used to have the best roads, bridges, and airports on Earth.
Get some chapstick, please.
And now, our infrastructure is ranked 13th in the world. We won't be able to compete for the jobs of the 21st century if we don't fix it. That's why it was so important to pass the bipartisan infrastructure law. And I thank my Republican friends who joined to invest in rebuild America.
Probably.
The single biggest investment in history. It was a bipartisan effort, and I want to thank the members of both parties who worked to make it happen. We're done talking about infrastructure weeks. We're now talking about an infrastructure decade. And look, it's going to transform America, to put us on a path to win the economic competition of the 21st century that we face with the rest of the world, particularly China. I told Xi Jinping, it's never a good bet to bet against the American people. We'll create good jobs for millions of Americans, modernizing roads, airports, ports, waterways, all across America. And we'll do it to withstand the devastating effects of climate change and promote environmental justice. We'll build a national network of 500...
Is Mark Greaney and,
Began to replace the poisonous lead pipes so every child
Marsha Blackburn there?
has clean water to drink at home and at school.
Is Marsha Blackburn and Mark Green there? Because they're probably the U.S. or...
Probably. I saw Bill Haggerty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For every American, rural, suburban, urban, and tribal communities. 4,000 projects have already been announced. Many of you have announced them in your districts. And tonight, I'm announcing that this year, we will start fixing over 65,000 miles of highway and 1,500 bridges in disrepair. And folks,
Oh. Yeah, well, the people that are clapping right now are like they're part of the
rebuild America. We're going to do it by buying America. Buy American products. Support American jobs.
How old is Kamala Harris?
The federal government spends about $600 billion a year to keep this country safe and secure. There's been a law on the books for almost a century to make sure taxpayers' dollars support American jobs and businesses. Every administration, Democrat or Republican, says
BS, bro.
but we're actually doing it. We'll
Oh, shoot, I thought she was way younger than that.
sure everything from the deck of an aircraft carrier
Kamala's 57, Joe Biden's 79,
is made in America.
Nancy's 81, Trump's 70.
All of it. All of it.
I'm sure don't.
But folks,
Wait, what? What did you just say?
to compete for the jobs of the future, we also need a level playing field with China and other competitors. That's why it's so important to pass the Bipartisan Innovation Act sitting in Congress that will make record investments in emerging technologies and American manufacturing. We used to invest almost 2% of our GDP in research and development. We don't now. Can't. China is. Let me give you one example why it's so important to pass. If you travel 20 miles east of Columbus, Ohio, you'll find 1,000 empty acres of land. It won't look like much, but if you stop and look closely, you'll see a field of dreams. The ground on which America's future will be built. That's where Intel, the American company that helped build Silicon Valley, is going to build a $20 billion semiconductor megasite. Up to 8 state-of-the-art factories in one place. 10,000 new jobs. And in those factories, the average job about $135,000 a year. Some of the most sophisticated manufacturing in the world to make computer chips the size of a fingertip.
Yeah, I was like,
The world in everyday life.
10,000 jobs is not a lot.
Technology, the internet, technology is yet to be invented. But that's just the beginning. Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, who is here tonight, I don't know where Pat is. Pat, there you go, Pat, stand up. Pat, Pat came to see me and he told me they're ready to increase their investment from $20 billion to $100 billion. That would be the biggest investment in manufacturing in American history. And all they're waiting for is for you to pass this bill. So let's not wait any longer.
For real.
Send it to my desk, I'll sign it, and we'll really take off in a big way. Intel is not alone. There's something happening in America. Just look around and you'll see an amazing story. The rebirth of pride that comes from stamping products made in America. The revitalization of American manufacturing. Companies are choosing to build new factories here when just a few years ago they would have gone overseas. That's what's happening. Ford is investing $11 billion in electric vehicles, creating 11,000 jobs across the country. GM is making the largest investment in its history, $7 billion to build electric vehicles, creating 4,000 jobs in Michigan. All told, 369
Secretary of Energy Jennifer
jobs were created in America
Granholm.
last year alone.
Who's that kid? What?
Powered by people I've met like JoJo Burgess from generations of union steelworkers in Pittsburgh, who's here tonight. Where are you, JoJo?
Jojo.
Thanks, buddy. As Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown says,
First United Steelworkers Local.
Yeah.
Sherrod Brown says it's time to bury the label Rust Belt. It's time to see the what used to be called Rust Belt become the home of a significant resurgence of manufacturing. And with all the bright spots in our economy, record job growth, higher wages, too many families are struggling to keep up with their bills. Inflation is robbing them of gains they thought otherwise they would be able to feel. I get it. That's why my top priority is getting prices under control. Look, our economy roared back faster than almost anyone predicted. But the pandemic meant that
So we're 33 or we're $30 trillion in debt. 30 plus $30 in debt.
So you didn't have people making those beams that went into buildings because they were out. The factory was closed. The panic also disrupted the global supply chain. Factories close. When that happens, it takes longer to make goods and get them to the warehouses, to the stores, and prices go up. Look at cars last year. 1/3 of all the inflation was because of automobile sales. There weren't enough semiconductors to make all the cars that people wanted to buy. And guess what? Prices of automobiles went way up, especially used vehicles as well.
Yes, they have one. Used vehicles went up.
One way to fight inflation is to drive down wages and make Americans poor. I think I have a better idea to fight inflation. Lower your costs, not your wages.
Oh, duh. Because if you increase wages, then inflation happens.
And so we have a choice. Make more cars and semiconductors in America. More infrastructure and innovation in America. More goods moving faster and cheaper in America. More jobs where you can earn a good living in America. Instead of relying on foreign supply chains, let's make it in America.
Yeah, thank you. Make it in America. That's the one thing I'll agree on. Because everyone moved over to China because they had better money or whatever. That's one thing I'll agree with. This is communism.
Call this increasing the productive capacity of our economy.
I'll agree with that.
I call it building a better America.
Oh God, Rona.
My plan to fight inflation will lower your costs and lower the deficit.
Like if that's one thing like I would agree like
inflationary pressures.
I don't see like
business leaders, and I believe most Americans support the plan. And here's the plan.
Like if we start manufacturing our own things again, like
cost of prescription drugs.
Oh yeah, for real.
Joe's got COVID.
Yeah, Joe's got COVID. Yeah, he's about to make drugs legal. I feel like lower the cost. We heard he already handed out free crack pipes, so or he was about to.
Americans has diabetes. In Virginia, I met a 13-year-old boy, the handsome young man standing
Jojo.
there, Joshua Davis.
Wait, who is that? That's not Jojo. Wait, what? Diabetes advocate. What?
Type 1 diabetes, which means they need insulin every single day.
Oh.
Insulin costs about $10 a vial to make.
Holy crap.
That's what it costs the pharmaceutical company. But drug companies charge families like Joshua and his dad up to 30 times that amount.
Oh my God.
I spoke with Joshua's mom. Imagine what it's like to look at your child who needs insulin to stay healthy and have no idea how in God's name you're going to be able to pay for it. What it does to your family, but what it does to your dignity, your ability to look your child in the eye, to be the parent you expect yourself to be. I really mean to think about that. That's what I think about. You know, yesterday, Josh was here tonight, but yesterday was his birthday. Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Josh.
So Joshua and 200,000 other young people with type 1 diabetes, let's cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month. So everyone can afford it. And drug companies will do very, very well. Their profit margin While we're at it, I know we have great
Don't
disagreements
touch
on
his
this
legs,
focus.
man.
Let's let Medicare
What?
negotiate the price of
I said,
prescription
don't touch his legs.
Here.
They already set the price for VA drugs. Look, the American Rescue Plan is helping millions of families with Affordable Care Act plans to save them $2,400.
Who's the white lady to the right of Joe Biden right here? That's Nancy Pelosi.
Gap and make these savings
She's the Speaker of the
permanent.
House. 81 years old, by the way. She does not look 81. She looks freaking
Let's cut energy costs for families.
called Botox.
An average
I
of
feel like.
$500 a year by combating climate change. Let provide an investment tax credits to
I know, like,
and your business.
at some point, like, do you want to like stop being that thing? Like,
Get a tax credit for it. Double America's clean energy production in solar, wind, and so much more. Lower the price of electric vehicles, saving
you're just
another
sucking the money
$80 a
out.
month that you're not going to have to pay at the
What it is.
pump. Folks, the third thing we can do to change the standard of living for hardworking folks is cut the cost of child care. Cut the cost of child care.
Folks, listen, everyone.
In America, you pay up to $14,000 a year for child care per child. I was a single dad for 5 years, raising 2 kids. I had a lot of help, though.
What?
I had a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister that really helped. But middle class and working folks shouldn't have to pay more than 7% of their income to care for the young children. My plan would cut the cost of child care in half for most families and help parents, including millions of women who left the workforce during the pandemic because they couldn't afford child care, to be able to get back to work, generating economic growth. But my plan doesn't stop there. It also includes home and long-term care. More
Well, let's hear your plan.
pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds. All these will lower costs to families. Under my plan, nobody, let me say this again, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in new taxes. Not a single penny.
Oh, what did she just say?
I may be wrong, but my guess is if we took a secret ballot in this floor,
It depends, Edmund.
agree that the present tax system ain't fair. We have to fix it.
Ain't?
I'm
Or
not
using
going to punish
ain't now.
anybody. But let's make corporations and wealthy Americans start paying their fair share. Look, last year,
Well, you guys pay your fair share.
like Chris Coons and Tom Carper and my distinguished Congresswoman, we come from the land of corporate America. There are more corporations incorporated in America than every other state in America combined. And I still won 36 years in a row. The point is,
Oh, of course.
even they
Elizabeth,
understand they should pay
where's
just a
Bernie?
fair
She's
share.
probably standing.
Last year, 55 of the Fortune 500 companies earned $40 billion in profit and paid zero in federal taxes. Now look, it's not fair. That's why I proposed a 15% minimum tax rate for corporations. We've got, and that's why in the G7 and other meetings overseas, we're able to put
Stop
together,
clapping,
was able
Rick.
to be somewhat helpful, 130 countries agree on a global minimum tax rate. So companies can't get out of paying their taxes at home by shipping jobs and factories overseas. It'll raise billions of dollars. That's why I propose closing loopholes for the very wealthy who pay a lower tax rate than a teacher and a firefighter. So that's my plan, but we'll go more detail later. We will grow the economy, lower the cost of families. So what are we waiting for? Let's get this done. We all know we've got to make changes.
It's Nancy Pelosi, yeah.
And while you're at it, confirm my nominees for the Federal Reserve, which plays a critical role in fighting inflation. My plan will not only lower costs and give families a fair shot, it will lower the deficit. The previous administration not only ballooned the deficit with those tax cuts for the very wealthy and corporations, it undermined the watchdogs, the job of those to keep pandemic relief funds being wasted. Remember we had those debates about whether or not those watchdogs should be able to see every day how much money was being spent, where was it going to the right place? But in my administration, the watchdogs are back. And we're going to go after the criminals who stole billions of relief money meant for small business and millions of Americans. Tonight I'm announcing that the Justice Department will soon name a chief prosecutor for pandemic fraud. And look, I think we all agree, thank you. By the end of this year, the deficit will be down to less than half of what it was before I took office. The only president ever to cut the deficit by more than $1 trillion in a single year. Lowering your cost also meant demanding more competition. I'm a capitalist, but capitalism without competition is not capitalism. Capitalism without competition is exploitation. It drives up profits. Corporations have to compete. Their profits go up and your prices go up when they don't have to compete. Small businesses and family farmers.
He does. What the heck?
No, you're not, Joe. Shut up.
What? You got 4 basic meat packing facilities. That's it. You play with them or you don't get to play at all. And you pay a hell of a lot more. A hell of a lot more because there's only 4.
Stop!
See what's happening with ocean carriers moving goods in and out of America. During the pandemic, about half a dozen or less foreign-owned companies raised prices by as much as 1,000% and made record profits. Tonight, I'm announcing a crackdown on those companies overcharging American businesses and consumers. Folks,
what's happening with ocean carriers moving goods in America during the pandemic?
Freaking dogs, like they're so like annoying. Keep like they just bark. No reason.
Quality in those homes has gone down, and
Here,
costs
just
have
close my
gone
door.
up. That ends on my watch. Medicare is going to set higher standards for nursing homes and make sure your loved ones get the care they deserve and that they inspect and they will look at closely. We're also going to cut costs to keep the economy going strong and giving workers a fair shot. Provide more training and apprenticeships, hire them based on skills, not just their degrees.
Wait, what did
That's the Paycheck Fairness Act and pay them.
what did Coach Davis say for us to do? Whatever.
Make sure your loved ones get the care.
$15 an hour?
We're also going to cut costs.
He just said he doesn't want to raise inflation. That's gonna raise inflation. What?
Our First Lady, who teaches full-time, calls America's best-kept secret.
$15 an hour? You know, it's 7 right now. It is like 7.25 or something like that. What's raised it to 15?
When we invest in our workers and we build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out together,
Dude.
we can do something we haven't done in a long time. Build a better America. For more than 2 years, COVID has impacted every decision in our lives and the life of this nation. And I know you're tired, frustrated, and exhausted. That doesn't even count the close to 1 million people who sit at a dining room table or a kitchen table and look at an empty chair because they lost somebody. But I also know this, because of the progress we've made, because of your resilience and the tools that we have been provided by this Congress, tonight I can say we're moving forward safely back to a more normal routines. We've reached a new moment in the fight against COVID-19, where severe cases are down to a level not seen since July of last year. Just a few days ago, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention issued a new
Exactly.
guideline. Under the new guidelines, most Americans in most of the country can now go mask-free. And based on projections, We've reached a new movement in the fight against COVID-19, where severe cases are down to a level not seen since July of last year.
Thanks to the progress we've made
Just
in
a
the
few
past year,
days ago, the Center for
COVID-19 no
Disease
longer
Control and
need
Prevention
control our lives.
issued a new
I know some are
guideline.
talking about living with
Under the new
COVID-19,
guidelines,
but tonight I say that we never will just accept living with COVID-19. We'll continue to combat the virus as we do other
based on
diseases.
projection,
And because this
more of
virus
the country will
mutates and
reach a
spreads,
cost that
we have to stay
20%
on
next
guard.
summer.
Yeah.
And here are four
The new normal is
as
what
we
they're.
move forward safely, in my view. First, stay protected with vaccines and treatments. We know how
Called
incredibly effective
brainwashing.
vaccines are.
What you're
Vaccinated
referring
and
to.
boosted, you have the highest degree of protection. We'll never give up on vaccinating more Americans. Now, I
Because
know
this
parents
virus
with kids under
mutates
5
and
are eager to
spreads,
see their
we have to
vaccines
stay on
authorized for
guard.
their children.
Here are four
Scientists are working hard
steps.
to get that done. We'll be ready with plenty of vaccines if and when they do.
Dude, completely unrelated topic. Like, what has happened to Kim Jong
We
Un?
are also ready with antiviral treatments.
Where's that dude been?
COVID-19, the Pfizer pill reduces your chances of ending up in the hospital by 90%. I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world has. Pfizer's working overtime to get us a million pills this month and more than double that next month.
Kim Jong Un, yeah.
Now we're launching the Test to Treat initiative. So people can get tested at a pharmacy, and if they prove positive,
Got COVID pills, baby.
antiviral pills on the spot at no cost. Folks,
Yeah, those have been out for a while. Hypersonic missiles, yeah.
if you're immunocompromised or have some other vulnerability, we have treatments and free high-quality masks. We're leaving no one behind or ignoring anyone's needs as we move forward. On testing, we've made hundreds of millions of tests available, and you can order them for free to your doorstep. And we've already ordered free tests. If you already ordered free tests tonight, I'm announcing you can order another group of tests. Go to covidtest.gov starting next week, and you can get more tests. Second, we must prepare for new variants. Over the past, we've gotten much better at detecting new variants. If necessary, we'll be able to develop new vaccines within 100 days instead of maybe months or years. And if Congress provides the funds we need, we'll have new stockpiles of tests, masks, pills ready if needed. I can't promise a new variant won't come, but I can promise you
We must
we'll
prepare
do
for
everything
new
within our
variants.
power to be ready if
Over
it
the
does.
past, we've gotten much better at detecting new variants. If necessary,
We can end the shutdown of schools and businesses. We have the tools we need. It's time for America to get back to work and fill our great downtowns again with people. People working from home can feel safe and begin to return to their offices. We're doing that here in the federal government. The vast majority of federal workers will once again work in person. Our schools are open. Let's keep it that way. Our kids need to be in school. With 75% of adult Americans fully vaccinated, and hospitalizations down by 77%, most Americans can remove their masks and stay in the classroom and move forward safely. We achieved this because we provided free vaccines, treatments, tests, and masks. Of course, continuing this costs
Didn't he
money.
say at the
So
beginning
not
it was like
surprised we'll be back to see
like
you
this
all.
campaign run there would be no like mask
I'm
man
gonna soon
or
send a request
no
to
vaccine
Congress.
mandates, whatever.
The vast majority of Americans have used these tools and may want again. We may need them again, so I expect Congress, and I hope you'll pass that quickly. Fourth, we'll continue vaccinating the world. We've sent 475 million vaccine doses to 112 countries, more than any nation on earth. We won't stop. Because you can't build a wall high enough to keep out a vaccine. The vaccine can stop the spread of these diseases. You know, we've lost so much in COVID-19. Time with one another. The worst of all, the loss of life. Let's use this moment to reset. So stop looking at COVID as a partisan dividing line. See it for what it is.
a god-awful disease. Let's stop seeing each
A
other
virus.
as enemies and start seeing each
A
other
disease.
for who we are, fellow Americans. Look,
Virus is not gonna die out. The flu is still around. I mean, there's just, I mean, more and more strands, or whatever. I mean, it's not gonna die out. Viruses don't.
Let's stop.
we can't change how divided we've been. It was a long time coming. But we can change how to move forward on COVID-19 and other issues that we must face together. I recently visited New York City Police Department days after the funerals of Officer Wilbur Mora and his partner, Officer Jason Rivera. They were responding to a 9/11 call when a man shot and killed them with a stolen gun. Officer Mora was 27 years old. Officer Rivera was 22 years old. Both Dominican Americans who grew up in the same streets that they later chose to patrol as police officers. I spoke with their families, and I told them that we were forever in debt for their sacrifices, and will carry on their mission to restore the trust and safety in every community deserves. Like some of you that have been around for a while, I've worked with you on these issues for a long time. I know what works. Investigating crime prevention and community policing, cops who walk the beat, who know the neighborhood, and who can restore trust and safety. Let's not abandon our streets or choose between safety and equal justice. Let's come together and protect our communities, restore trust, and hold law enforcement accountable. That's why the Justice Department has required body cameras, banned chokeholds, and restricted no-knock warrants for its officers. That's why the American Rescue Plan that you all provided $350 billion that cities, states, and counties can use to hire more police, invest in more proven strategies.
That's why the Justice Department.
Proven strategies like
Bro.
community violence interruption,
These dogs
digital
are.
messengers, breaking the cycle of violence and trauma, and giving young people some hope. We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police, it's to fund the police. Fund them. Fund them.
Thank you. Yes, fund the police, please.
Fund them with resources and training. Resources and training they need to protect our communities. I ask Democrats and Republicans alike to pass my budget and keep our neighborhoods safe. And we'll do everything in my power to crack down on gun trafficking of ghost guns that you can buy online, assemble at home, no serial numbers, can't be traced. I ask Congress to pass proven measures to reduce gun violence. Pass universal background checks. Why should anyone on the terrorist list be able to purchase a weapon? Why? Why?
Well, they don't. They purchase it off the black market.
Ban assault weapons with high-capacity magazines hold up to 100 rounds. You think the deer...
People will always be able to buy it off the black market illegally.
Look, repeal the liability shield that makes gun manufacturers the only industry in America that can't be sued. The only one. Imagine had we done that with the tobacco manufacturers. These laws don't infringe on the Second Amendment. They save lives. The most fundamental right in America is the right to vote and have it counted. And look, it's under...
All the amendments. Right to bear arms, or freedom of speech, freedom of religion, General Assembly, all that. They're all...
But to subvert the entire election. We can't let this happen. Tonight I call on the Senate to pass the Freedom to Vote Act, pass the John Lewis Act, Voting Rights Act. And while you're at it, pass the Disclose Act so Americans know who's funding our election. Tonight, I'd like to honor someone who dedicated his life to serve this country. Justice Breyer, an Army veteran, constitutional scholar, retiring Justice of the United States Supreme Court. Justice Breyer, thank you for your service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Skinner, stand up and see.
Tonight,
Thank you.
Dr. Shepherd dedicated his life to serve his country.
And we all know, no matter what your ideology, we all know one of the most serious constitutional responsibilities a president has is nominating someone to serve on the United States Supreme Court. As I did 4 days ago, I've nominated the Circuit Court of Appeals, Ketanji Brown Jackson, one of our nation's top legal minds, who continue in Justice Breyer's legacy of excellence. A former top litigator in private practice, a former federal public defender, from a family of public school educators and police officers. She's a consensus builder. Since she's been nominated, she's received a broad range of support, including the Fraternal Order of Police and former judges supported by Democrats and Republicans. Folks, if we're to advance liberty and justice, we need to secure our border and fix the immigration system.
Yes. Secure the borders, please.
Since she's been nominated, she's received a broad range of support, including the former judges supported by Democrats.
And as you might guess, I think we can do both. At our border, we've installed new technology like cutting-edge scanners to better detect drug smuggling. We've set up joint patrols with Mexico and Guatemala to catch more human traffickers. We're putting in place dedicated immigration judges in a significant larger number so families fleeing persecution and violence can have their cases heard faster, and those who don't legitimately hear can be sent back. We're screening, we're securing...
Well, those Republicans saying, build that wall.
In South and Central America to host more refugees and secure their own borders. We can do all this while keeping lit the torch of liberty that has led a generation of immigrants to this land. My forebears and many of yours. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, those with temporary status.
Now that's something I didn't think he was going to say. But immigration.
So businesses have workers they need. And families don't wait decades to reunite. It's not only the right thing to do, it's economically smart thing to do. That's why the immigration reform is supported by everyone from labor unions to religious leaders to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Let's get it done once and for all.
Yeah, but what about them coming in legally, though?
Advancing liberty and justice also requires protecting the rights of women. The constitutional right affirmed by Roe v. Wade, standing precedent for half a century, is under attack as never before. If you want to go forward, not backwards, you must protect access to health care, preserve a woman's right to choose, and continue to advance maternal health care for all Americans. And folks, for our LGBTQ plus Americans, let's finally get the bipartisan Act to my desk.
Oh.
Onslaught of state laws targeting transgender Americans and their families. It's simply wrong. I said last year, especially to our younger
I can't, dude.
I'll always have your back as your president,
That's so
you can be yourself and reach your God-given potential.
You can't bring God into this. If you're not gonna believe in my worldview, you cannot bring God into this. There's only two genders. Don't you dare step into my worldview over that.
We do not agree.
You don't freaking agree with it.
And that we do agree on a lot more things.
Exactly. There you go. I've been doing his research.
I signed 80
2009, he hated transgender and gays now.
From preventing government shutdowns to protecting Asian Americans from still too common hate crimes.
No, I don't like
reforming military justice.
Hate the person. I don't believe in what they're like.
Strengthening the Violence Against Women Act that I first wrote 3 decades ago.
I don't believe in what they're doing.
It's important for us to show the nation.
They panned the camera off quickly. Dang.
Tonight I'm offering a unity agenda for the nation. 4 big things we can do together, in my view. First, beat the opioid epidemic. There's so much we can do. Increase funding for prevention, treatment, harm reduction and recovery. Get rid of outdated rules and stop doctors prescribing treatments. Stop the flow of illicit drugs by working with state and local law enforcement to go after the traffickers. And if you're suffering from addiction, you should know you're not alone. I believe in recovery, and I celebrate the 23 million Americans in recovery. Second, let's take on mental health, especially among our children whose lives and education have been turned upside down.
To the media.
American Rescue Plan gave schools money to hire teachers and help students make up for lost learning. I urge every parent to make sure your school does just that. Have the money. We can all play a part. Sign up to be a tutor or a mentor. Children were also struggling before the pandemic. Bullying, violence, trauma, and the harms of social media. As Frances Haugen, who is here tonight with us, has shown, we must hold social media platforms accountable for the national experiment they're conducting on our children for profit.
Sign up to be a tutor or a mentor. Also struggling folks.
Thank you. Thank you for the courage you showed. It's time to strengthen privacy protections. Ban targeted advertising to children. Demand tech companies stop collecting personal data on our children. And let's get all Americans the mental health services they need. More people can turn for help and full parity between physical and mental health care if we treat it that way in our insurance.
Privacy protection. Ban targeted advertising to children.
I want to know what Pelosi is saying to Kamala.
Support our veterans.
Gosh, she was just fell standing up.
They're the best of us. I've always believed
That though.
that we have a sacred obligation to equip those we send to war and care for those in their family when they come home. My administration is providing assistance in job training, housing, and now helping lower-income veterans get VA care debt-free. And our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan have faced many dangers. One being stationed at bases breathing in toxic smoke from burn pits. Many of you have been there. I've been out of Iraq and Afghanistan over 40 times.
Yeah, he also pulled out of Afghanistan.
The waste of war, medical and hazardous material, jet fuel, and so much more. And they come home. Many of the world's fittest and best trained warriors in the world. Never the same. Headaches, numbness, dizziness.
No duh.
Listen, look at Nancy.
That would put them
I know, she's...
in a flag draped coffin. I know.
The waste of war, medical.
One of those soldiers was my son, Major Bo Biden. I don't know for sure if the burn pit that he lived near, that his hooch was near, in Iraq and earlier than that in Kosovo, is the cause of his brain cancer, the disease of so many other troops. But I am committed to find out everything we can, committed to military families like Danielle Robinson from Ohio, the widow of Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson. He was born a soldier, Army National Guard, combat medic in Kosovo and Iraq, stationed near Baghdad, just yards from burn pits the size of football fields. Danielle is here with us tonight. They love going to Ohio State football games. And they love building Legos with their daughter. With cancer from prolonged exposure to burn pits ravaged Heath's lungs and body. Danielle says Heath was a fighter to the very end. He didn't know how to stop fighting, and neither did she. Through her pain, she found purpose to demand that we do better. Tonight, Danielle, we are going to do better. The VA,
Cancer, a prolonged exposure
the
to
VA
drug
is
use.
pioneering new ways of linking toxic exposure to disease.
Danielle
Already
says she
helping
was
more
a fighter to the
veterans
very
get
end.
benefits. And tonight,
He didn't know how to
I'm
stop
announcing we're
fighting.
expanding eligibility to veterans
Neither did
suffering
she.
from 9 respiratory cancers.
Pain she
I'm also calling on Congress to pass a law to make sure veterans devastated by toxic exposure in Iraq and Afghanistan finally get the benefits and the comprehensive health care they deserve.
All of a sudden, we support our veterans now. Or was that like forever ago?
And fourth and last, let's end cancer as we know it. This is personal.
What? I know, like.
This is personal to me and to Jill and to Kamala. And so many of you. So many of you have lost someone you love. Husband, wife, son, daughter, mom, dad. Cancer is the #2 cause of death in America, second only to heart disease. Last month, I announced the plan to supercharge the cancer moonshot that President Obama asked me to lead 6 years ago. Our goal is to cut cancer death rates by at least 50% over the next 25 years. I think we can do better than that. Turn cancers from death sentences into treatable diseases. More support for patients and their families. To get there, I call on Congress to fund what I call ARPA-H, Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health, patterned after DARPA in the Defense Department. Projects that led in DARPA to the internet, GPS, and so much more to make our forces more safer and be able to wage war more with more clarity. ARPA will have a singular purpose: to drive breakthroughs in cancer, Alzheimer's and diabetes, and more. A unity agenda for the nation. We can do these things. It's within our power, and I don't see a partisan edge to any one of those 4 things. My fellow Americans, tonight we've gathered in this sacred space, a citadel of democracy, in this capital. Generation after generation of Americans have debated great questions, amid great strife, and have done great things. We fought for freedom.
Also done great bad things.
Expanded liberty. Debated totalitarianism and terror. We built the strongest, freest, and most prosperous nation the world has ever known. Now is the hour. Our moment of responsibility. Our test of resolve and conscience. Of history itself. It is in this moment that our character of this generation is formed. Our purpose is found. Our future is forged. Well, I know this nation. We'll meet the test.
It is about you again.
Expand fairness and opportunity. Our test of resolve and save democracy. Of history itself. As hard as those times have been, I'm more optimistic about America today than I've been my whole life, because I see the future that's within our grasp. Because I know there's simply nothing beyond our capacity. Well, I know this nation. We're the only nation on earth that has always turned every crisis we face into an opportunity. Expand fairness. The only nation that can be defined by a single word: possibilities. So on this night, on our 245th year as a nation, I've come to report on the state of the nation, the State of the Union. And my report is this: the State of the Union is strong because you, the American people, are strong. We are stronger today. We are stronger today than we were a year ago. And we'll be stronger a year from now than we are today. This is our moment to meet and overcome the challenges of our time. And we will, as one people, one America, the United States of America. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you. Go get him.
Go get him?
What is go get him?
President Biden speaking for a little over an hour in his first State of the Union speech, spending about the first 10 or 11 minutes talking about the situation in Ukraine and the American-led
Well, that
coalition of countries
was
that have stood up
about
to Vladimir Putin.
over an hour and a half.
But what we saw just a few minutes
No.
ago, about 6 minutes near the end of the
speaking for a
speech,
little
we
over an
heard
hour
an
in his
interruption
first State of the
in the
Union
crowd. A member of
speech,
Congress, I want to go to NBC News senior
spending
Capitol
about
Hill
the
correspondent
first
Garrett
10
Hill,
or
who's
11 minutes
inside the
talking
chamber.
about
What
the
was that we
situation
heard
in Ukraine
as the president was beginning to talk about
and
his
the
late son, Bo?
American-led coalition
Lester,
of
that
countries
was
that have stood up
Republican
to
Lord
Vladimir
Boebert
Putin.
from Colorado as the president was talking
What we
about
saw just a few
warriors
minutes
and
ago,
flag
about 6
draped
minutes near the
coffins.
end
She
of
interjected
the speech, we
13 of
heard
them, I believe, a
interruption
reference to the
in the crowd.
American
Remember,
I'm
service
sorry I
members
didn't
and
get
women
to
who met
but
and
we
killed
Capitol Hill
in
correspondent Garrett Hill
Afghanistan during
was
the
my man.
inside the
wall.
chamber.
She
What
So,
was that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene
As
glad
the
you could
president
actually I'm
finished
gonna
talking about
end.
his late
kept
son,
up
Bo.
something as a
Hold on.
running commentary throughout
Yes, we
the
just watched the State of the
Republican
Union.
Lord Boebert
Joe
from
Biden just over a
Colorado,
little bit
the
of an
president
hour.
was talking about warriors
Obviously, the
and
State of the
flag
Union is
draped
just
coffins.
addressing
She
and
injected
the United
clearly
States.
audible
I believe, a
commentary, even
reference
as
to
far
the
away as I am
American
up here in the
servicemen
gallery.
and women who met
And
were
it
killed
sounded
in
like some were trying to shush her.
Yeah, there was definitely a reaction there.
Alright, so we just now finished. We're about to end soon. But I'm glad you can tune in. But we just watched Joe Biden State of the Union, which is usually done every year, where the president will address the United States over what accomplishes done, what he's going to do, present things. So like, he touched on a lot of things. So like inflation, Russia, Ukraine, stuff like that. But I mean, I guess it went all right. Some things I didn't agree with. I can agree with, but um, I want to get Grant's opinion on what he thinks about it.
Mhm.
We'll end this video for YouTube. If you want to go check that out, Tip Off Truth Show. On YouTube, you can go to my actual YouTube page, and it's going to be the first YouTube link. See there, Tip Off Truth Show. We do podcasts, and this video will be uploaded later. See that there if you want to rewatch it. State of the Union. But yeah, Grant, let's the floor yours.
Yeah, so I wrote some notes down while the president was talking. So I'm just gonna kind of, I'm not gonna go too far into it because I wrote a lot of stuff down. But let's go. So first off, the president is giving $1 billion to Ukraine. I understand it from a strategy standpoint, and I think it would be a smart move for the United States to help Ukraine in that situation. So I really I like that. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Trying to go over the big stuff. I really liked how the president is closing off airspace to Russian aircraft. So basically, what he's kind of addressing in this is that literally anyone from Russia cannot come to the United States in a plane or anything. And so I think it's a smart move. We saw it under the Trump administration during COVID when President Trump bans China and multiple other countries from coming into the U.S. to stop the spread of the coronavirus and possibly even more deaths. Another thing that I just found funny is, I mean, I heard Nick say it while he was talking, but he says he wants middle class. He says the previous administration actually did loopholes so to where the top corporate Americans, um, got out of the way of paying taxes and everything, actually is in saying that the middle class and the lower class were actually paying more taxes. And it's funny because that is an actual lie. If you want to go and fact check me, you can go on whitehouse.gov. You can actually see that the Trump administration actually added $6,000 of income in middle American households. And so the fact of the matter of these corporate businesses getting out of the taxes is just it's not right. It's not right. So that is wrong. Also, yeah, here's the part where I heard Nick absolutely yell. He says he wants to build America, and
Yeah.
and I heard Nick. He was like $15 an hour.
No,
It's
no,
pretty funny.
because before he was talking about um like we need to cut inflation. We don't need to do
Yeah,
anything with inflation.
yeah,
What do you think that's gonna do? What do you think that's gonna do to inflation?
yeah,
Bring it
yeah,
like
and
I don't understand. Yeah, hold on. I mean, you'll get a chance to talk here,
yeah.
but okay, right now I get paid $13.50. Minimum wage is $7.25 or something like that. He's gonna move it to $15.
Yep.
How are you gonna cut expenses or like the cost for things if you're gonna move the minimum wage to $15?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like Nick said, it is very, very, very difficult. Even economists have shown that such a thing would actually, in the long run, actually make Americans pay more taxes.
Yeah, and
And
already I'm not gonna get. So I pay Social Security and I pay Medicare.
mhm,
I'm not gonna get any of the money I pay Social Security to when
yeah,
I come to retirement. That none of that's not going to me. That's supposed to go to me. That's not gonna go to me at all.
yeah. Um, I thought it was so funny. He was like, "We are the administration that needs to utilize our taxpayers' money and finally get our taxpayers the help that they need and all these different things." And
Yeah,
I'm like, you already don't utilize our
you don't use it. You want to give
taxpayer
free
money
crack pipes
enough.
out. You want to do all this other bull crap.
Yeah. One more thing I really did like is how he's adding $350 billion to hire police and help the police
Yeah, I
force.
did like yeah.
I think that's very, very essential right now, especially in the times we're in, to have a strong police force across the United States.
Yes.
Keep drugs off the streets, and keep crime down. Because the crime rate right now is absolutely terrible, and you don't even have to ask me. Like, it's all over the.
It's all
I'm
over.
not.
Just not even like
Yeah,
Chicago, New York, whatever, the big
yeah.
cities. Like, it's everywhere.
It's
Like, I can just
literally
even say,
everywhere.
in my home state, Nashville. I mean, it's terrible.
Yep. And so, yeah, I think we definitely do need a stronger police force. See here. Oh, he made the claim that insulin
Oh yeah,
is like super super expensive,
it takes like
and
$10 for them to manufacture it, and people are paying 30 times more for insulin.
yeah, but here's the catch: the insulin price under the Trump administration was actually really really low. Like it was really 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 like it was low. Um, there's a there's a oh wait, hold on. So just cost of insulin. Yeah, so recently or last in 2019, the Trump administration they actually like reduced insulin by 66%. And the $35 is right, but the plan would save seniors, like senior citizens, approximately like almost $500 each year in insulin.
Well,
And I mean, you can that's via Seema Verma, who was the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Um, so I I understand that insulin was pricey, but the fact of the matter that he wants to make it $35 a month, it was already like that. I don't know what
yeah.
he was doing. He's saying that the Trump administration was like doing that, even though the Trump administration literally did what he said. So, I just find it fascinating. What else do we got here? Um,
He talked about the VA with the
yeah,
veterans and stuff like that, which all of a sudden they want to support our soldiers. Like, where was that in your whole career?
so here's the bottom line, and I hate it myself. I really do. But in all in realistic times, the VA sucks.
Sucks. Yeah,
It will
no.
suck for the rest of existence. It is terrible healthcare. If you want to compare the VA to something, compare it to Canada's healthcare, where it's absolutely free and it takes you hours and hours to get treated by a doctor. Like you want to compare, go up to Canada, be my guest and get your free healthcare. But I promise you, it's really not free. It comes out of your taxes. And their tax rate is far more insane than ours. So
Yeah, I also
I
liked he was talking about the border. Which has he been to the border yet?
no, he hasn't.
Okay, so he was talking about the border and like taking like these ID cards or whatever. He's like more protection, but we're still not. Are we preventing illegal people to come in, or is that not a thing? We still want I agree with him like Statue of Liberty is like the gateway for people to come in, but like I want them to come in legally.
Right, right. Yeah, the border has. It's just like under like the border will just always be an issue because I don't know why this is such a tendency, but immigration is. I'm not gonna say Democratic presidents aren't addressing the situation in a proper manner, but it's so more thought out when Democrats are in the White House than Republicans. And the reason you see that, obviously, you have Donald Trump who wanted to build a wall, and Texas is actually doing that now. They're continuing the
Well,
build a wall, and it's just I don't know why, but it's such an issue for Democrats. I'm not saying that Donald Trump didn't have pressure with the immigration, but it was not as bad as Biden administration. And I'm being totally, I'm trying to be as bipartisan as possible.
yeah,
Like there was immigrants that were literally coming, swooping in. Actually, they were coming in at a fast pace under the last couple months of the Trump administration. Um, and so yeah. Oh,
I believe Edmund wanted to talk. He wanted to touch on what Grant had to say there. Give the floor to Edmund.
Alright, so Grant was talking about healthcare in Canada, and I can affirm it is very bad.
yeah. It is
So
Edmund does live in Canada, by the way. So if anyone wanted to know that, he
yeah.
does.
it is.
So first of all, like the waiting lines. You could do like, let's say you like I broke my leg last year, and it took like 6 hours.
Yeah.
No, not even 6 hours just to see a doctor.
Yep.
Holy
And
crap.
if I was in America, I bet you would be like 2 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Well, I could
Oh
just say
yeah.
like I don't want to say I was like privileged, but when I broke my wrist, my dad's a doctor, so he basically got us in pretty quickly. Like I didn't have to like wait. I could just walk in. I mean, granted, my dad was like a doctor there, so like give me access to quicker things. But I mean, I got in pretty quick, so
Yeah. I mean, it is. It is terrible.
I bet it's like more.
Um. 6.5 million. Uh. Where was it? Where was it? Oh, cutting the cost of childcare. Oh my gosh, man. I
Yeah.
mean, he like you can't just hire these people and not pay them right. It I promise you if all of these agendas were passed, you would see honestly, you would see a tax rate so high that Americans could not like
Can't like afford basically. The
afford
middle
to
class
do
will fall.
anything right.
Middle
Right,
class
you would
will
see
completely fall out.
yeah, you would see, obviously childcare, like those people costs go down. Well, let's think about it, guys. Childcare workers, like people who actually work in them, they make practically nothing.
Yeah.
So if it's free, right? It's like a freaking public school.
It's
If
like
it's free,
almost like
you're not gonna
volunteering.
get
I feel like
yeah, you're basically getting paid nothing. And so, like, the whole matter of the fact that he wants to adopt a lot of these, like, almost so, I'm not going to say socialist because it's not, but it's pretty close to it, to what a socialist agenda is. I mean, it amazes me how you can
it's like on the
build a better
borderline.
country.
And he was just talking about like, minimum wage about
Dude,
$15.
there's no way.
But yet, like he was talking about like how teachers and like firemen need to be like on the same way or like whatever. Like that's pretty communist thinking.
Yeah.
Like borderline thinking. Like it's not there, but it's getting there. It's like it's dipping your. It's like feeling the air. Like look the air. It's like that. It's like you're
Bro,
dipping your
dude, do you
toes
want
in
to
it.
hear something crazy, bro?
What?
Okay. While we're talking about this minimum wage crap, so Target, right?
Yeah.
Place I work at.
Huh?
Guess what? They're about to make their new minimum wage.
What?
Just take a guess.
$20.
No,
$15.
no,
$17.
no.
$8.50.
$24.
What?
Yes,
$24.
an hour.
Are you serious?
I
For
am
part time?
dead.
For part time.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm about to go work at Target.
Dude, I came in at such a right time. Oh, I was like, okay.
I'm about to go ask.
Yeah.
So is he implemented it already? $15 minimum wage?
It should be sometime in the coming months.
Like months, bruh. And gas prices are gonna go up. Oh my god, it's gonna be. Let's see how this plays out. It's literally gonna be $7 a gallon. Watch.
What do you think? Where is it? Where
Oh,
is
we could
it?
talk about Russia. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, Russia. I'm actually genuinely surprised that
Evan wanted
Ukraine.
to start talking. Edmund, there you go. Or,
Alright, so I'm kind of mixed about Russia. I don't really support Ukraine or Russia, but if I had to support someone, I'd say like Russia, cause like Ukraine is kind of for like is getting closer to West like day by day since like the 2000s, right? And like Putin in his mental state or whatever was thinking that maybe one day Ukraine will join Russia and I don't know they'll attack them or something, which probably wouldn't happen. And then that's kind of the reason why he attacked Ukraine, which is I guess an okay reason. But
well, now, I don't agree with Russia. Communist, like Ukraine currently has this neo-Nazi government.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I would support the citizens of maybe Ukraine, but not the government. Definitely not. Neither
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Russia's government.
and the president is a comedian. He has like
It was.
no
No.
politic
Here,
background.
here, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The one reason I absolutely love their president. I mean, I love their like after seeing the pictures of his dedication and
Yeah,
like
that's one thing I do
country
like.
fighting for his country is astonishing. Like you would never see any other leader do that. So props to him for doing that, especially against Russia. Oh my gosh, dude.
You got some big freaking.
You got some big balls for doing that, man.
So Russia has like a 60-mile convoy going to Kiev right now.
A 6D mile?
60 miles, yes.
16 or 6D?
60, yes, 60
Golly.
mile
How do you know?
convoy. So just everyone on the news. There's even satellite images. Like there's military trucks occupying like all three lanes of the highway, just going to Kiev.
What the heck? I'm
Crazy.
surprised they haven't even taken the capital yet.
Yeah. I'm
I
surprised.
I think Russia kind of like fucked up like the element of surprise. Like they could have taken all of Ukraine in one day if they were like dedicated. Because they didn't send like on the first day they sent conscripts, which they have like a lot of experience, sort of say, instead of sending like the veterans.
Huh? Well,
So if they send
they
the,
said there was
I
like
mean if
reports of whatever of like, they take or capital in 72 hours.
we're legit watching it and we're like betting about it. Remember?
Well, I wasn't bet like I heard that like
Like
they could take it in
joke bet.
72 hours.
They could have, but I don't know why they didn't.
At this point, I don't even know what he's doing. Like, I don't even know what Putin's like. I don't think anyone knows what he's doing. Even like on his side, like no one knows what he's doing.
Also, apparently, Lukashenko, who is like the president of Belarus, he on TV, like national TV, he showed a plan of like Russia attacking Ukraine, like the plan, like
Uh-huh.
every main occupation goal. That's kind of dumb. So that's one more one more problem for Putin.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's all I had.
But yeah, I think we're gonna end on that. I guess if you're tuning in on YouTube, this has been the State of the Union and live commentary with it. I will try to post a video up here soon. If you're joining us on Twitch, thank you for watching. Take care.